If you've made your Google ads and they're fully approved and have no status issues, but you're simply just not getting any impressions or spending the budget that you're allowing Google to spend, in today's video, we'll walk you through exactly what you can check to start getting impressions inside your campaign so you can start getting enough clicks to actually start getting conversions coming in at the rate you need to. So the first thing you want to look at is make sure you're not already limiting yourself with any of your settings. So this applies to audience segments as well, which we'll touch on in a second. But looking at your overall main campaign settings, first of all, just to touch on a couple of points here. So, for example, locations, you want to make sure that you're targeting a wide enough location that the search volume is actually going to be there to allow you to get enough impressions in the first place. So, you don't want to be targeting too small an area or an area that doesn't have enough population for your ads to get impressions in the first place. You want to have your daily budget also set in a way that it allows you to get at least 10 clicks per day where possible. And to know if you have enough daily budget to get at least 10 clicks per day, if you haven't already, look inside the Google Ads keyword planner and look at the cost per clicks of the keywords in the location that you're targeting. And this ties in with bidding as well. So if you're running, for example, a maximize conversion strategy like we have here with the target CPA, you might have a target CPA set too low if you're not getting any impressions, and this might need to be increased. But alternatively, if it's a brand new campaign and you're using maximize clicks, for example, that you might have your maximum cost per click bid limit set too low to actually get impressions, and this will also need to be increased. And now with your audience settings, then you want to go to audience segments as well. And under audience segments, you want to just look at the audience segments that you're running and make sure that it's selected to observation mode and not presence. And once you've selected observation mode, it doesn't necessarily matter how many of these that you have selected, as long as it's selected to observation mode, because if you're running targeting for audience segments instead of observation mode, then you're greatly limiting the amount of people that can see your ads because they have to fall within a certain audience. Whereas under observation mode, Google can simply just collect data on these different audiences, but it's not limiting you to only be able to show your ads to these audiences. And it's really important to do this because there might be a lot of leads that you could be getting that don't fall under a specific audience segment, but because you have targeting selected, you're greatly limiting the amount of impressions that you could be getting. The next thing you want to look at then is your keywords. So first of all, are you targeting enough keywords? And do the keywords that you're targeting actually have search volume? Did you see that you're targeting at least a few keywords from the Google Ads keyword planner that have at least a few hundred searches per month? Because that's what you'd realistically need to be able to run a campaign that's going to get you enough impressions, that's going to get you the amount of leads that you need to be getting. And if that's not the case, what you should do is either add more keywords, and alternatively as well, if you're running exact match keywords only like we have in this campaign, but the search volume of your campaign doesn't allow you to only use exact match keywords, then adding in some phrase match keywords, for example, will greatly increase the amount of impressions you're getting because there's so many more search term variations that you can now appear for. What you also want to be careful of with your keywords as well is go to your negative keywords and make sure that you go through all your negatives and make sure that you don't have any in place that could be blocking out potential good keywords that you do want to target. Because I notice this sometimes inside campaigns that have broad match negatives added, and those broad match negatives will actually cancel out a lot of potential good quality search terms that they do want to appear for, and they'd either have to remove that negative or change it to, for example, an exact match negative so that they can now appear for the keyword that they tried to be targeting in the first place. And on that point of negatives as well, what you also want to double check is inside locations, is that if you have location exclusions in place, you just want to make sure that you don't have any exclusions that cancel out the locations that you are trying to target, because that's also a mistake I also noticed happen a couple of times inside Google Ads accounts, and where people were wondering why they weren't getting any impressions, but it's because they had the locations that they were trying to target excluded. And it's a common mistake that I see more often with keywords, but can also happen with locations as well. The next thing you want to look at then is your auction insights at your impression share metrics and how you compare to competitors. Because if you have a low impression share, for example, then there's a lot more impressions out there that you could be appearing for that simply making adjustments would allow you to appear for. Whereas if your impression share then was a lot closer to 100%, then you know that it's most likely a search volume issue and that you need to, for example, add in more keywords and locations so that there's more search volume out there for your ads to be seen in the first place. But what you can also do to get a better understanding of what you can do to improve your impression share to actually start getting more impressions is come to all campaigns And inside campaigns itself, you're able to see your search impression share, and you can pull up your columns here for search loss impression share due to rank and search loss impression share due to budget to see why you're missing out on impressions in the first place. So, for example, you can see that for this campaign, our search impression share would be a lot higher if we simply just had a higher daily budget. Now, if the company wanted to be getting more leads than they're currently getting, then they could simply just increase the daily budget to do so. And that would dramatically increase this search impression share and decrease the search loss impression share due to budget. Because it's worth mentioning as well that these three numbers here will always add to 100%. So whatever search impression share you're missing out on is always going to be due to either rank or budget. And reducing the search loss impression due to budget is as simple as just increasing your daily budget. But the issue with rank then is solved by improving the quality scores of your keywords and also improving your bid as well. So, for example, increasing your max CPC bid limit or increasing your target CPA if you're running maximized conversions. That as well brings us on to our last point, which is improving your overall quality score, because having a higher quality score will improve your overall visibility and increase how often your ads are actually shown. And to improve your overall quality score, you want to make sure you also have these three metrics pulled up here, which is expected click-through rate, ad relevance, and landing page experience, as these three metrics are what go into determining your quality score. And if you notice that for your keywords you have low quality scores that need to be improved, what I will do now as well is leave the link up above to a video that you can watch that goes into detail of exactly how to improve the quality score of your keywords, which is going to have the biggest leverage in improving your whole overall visibility to start getting more impressions for your campaigns.